U-GeekTV.
Colin Kaepernick. It's time to give it up, brother. It's time to give it up. Let's get into it.
Will we see you play NFL again?
We're still training, still pushing. So hopefully we just gotta get one of these team owners to open up.
What would it mean to you to play NFL again?
I mean, it's something I've trained my whole life for. So be able to step back on the field, I think that would be a major moment, major accomplishment for me. Also, I think it's something that I could bring a lot to a team and help them win a championship.
Welcome back to U-GeekTV. I am your host, Jarius Unapologetic Geek, and we're back for another edition of the Unapologetic Opinion. This is where I give my unbiased and unfiltered takes on stories that I've come across. And today we are talking about one, Colin Kaepernick, and his continued pursuit and desire to come back to the place that basically fucked him over in the first place. So, we all know the story. Colin Kaepernick took a knee against police brutality towards black people, and it cost him his career. NFL owners, who are all white men, were not having that. And then you had most of NFL viewers who were predominantly, military military lovers and you know what? I'm not even going to get into all the shit I was going to say. Anyways, you had people who felt like he was speaking out against police and all that kind of shit that were mad about it, and they tried to make him kneeling about something that it wasn't. It caused this huge hoopla, and then we get to the George Floyd situation, and the NFL comes back and is basically saying, you know what, we do need to stand up to injustices, but they wouldn't say that Colin Kaepernick was right for taking a knee. They kind of glossed over that. And fast forward, a whole bunch of other shit happens. Jay-Z ends up becoming like the leader of, I guess, ceremonies and like their black music in terms of how the NFL use it, which is why all of these last Super Bowl halftime shows have been super black, and also those proceeds and everything kind of go back into the black community, things of that nature. Colin Kaepernick still wasn't welcome back. We find out that Colin Kaepernick was being blackballed. Colin Kaepernick raises a lawsuit against the NFL, and they settle, which made a bunch of people mad, like a ton of people, because people wanted to see Colin get the NFL in court. And basically, he and his team proved that the NFL was colluding to keep him out of the league. If shit didn't happen, he settled for an undisclosed, I think it was undisclosed amount of money, but basically stopped talking about it. The NFL moved on, but Colin Kaepernick never did. But there's one more part of this story that I have to get into before I move forward to where we are today. After the dust was settled, both figuratively and literally, the NFL, they basically coordinated a tryout for Colin. It was going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. And when the teams had representatives that show up, Colin Kaepernick decided to have his tryout like across the city. If you're living in Atlanta or ever been there, you know how crazy it is to find out that you're in the wrong location within about 20 or 30 minutes of the actual place you're supposed to be, starting what it is you're supposed to be at. So all of these scouts had to kind of scramble to try and get to where Colin was. I think only 2 showed up. They got to his tryout. He had a great tryout, and then he gets on camera and he says that he's demanded transparency from the NFL. And it's a bunch of stuff that, looking back on it, it kind of sounded like fluff, to be honest. Like it wasn't really clear what it was that he was talking about in terms of his issue with the NFL, how the tryout was being carried out. But he made a big deal of it. And I remember watching in that moment, this was several years ago. This may have been, I want to say 2016, maybe no, it wasn't 2016, maybe 2017, 2018. I remember seeing it. I was like, he'll never play again. Like, that was the olive branch. And he'll never play again. And then it just stuck out to me. I don't think it was ever about coming back, really. I'm not entirely sure Colin Kaepernick actually wanted to play football again, because at this point, his kneeling and his activism and philanthropy and all of that had become bigger than what he was when he was actively playing in the NFL. And I thought that was the end of it. I thought he just accepted that it was over with. What he had chosen to do in that moment cost him his career. That permanently shut the doors with the NFL, and everybody was just going to go their separate ways. And I was fucking wrong. So in the years since then, we've heard rumblings about Colin Kaepernick saying he's still in shape, he's still practicing, he still wants to come back and play in the NFL, he still wants to play football again. And they basically get dismissed. Like the NFL isn't having it. And then I remember the XFL and the USFL wanted him to come in and play there, and he basically ignored their requests. Like he just keeps going. So that lets me know it's not about playing football. It's about playing for the NFL again. Colin, it's time to be honest. It's over with. Just recently, they had an interview with Colin, which I played that clip, where he's still discussing coming back to the NFL and just being prepared for it. Man, look, I don't care who you are. Once you've chosen your stance, especially when it comes to activism, you got to be ready for everything that comes with it. And Colin was ready and still is ready for everything that comes with it. But hoping that you can get back to the NFL, let's break it down here. Let's say you had an issue with something your employer was doing. You protested it. They got mad, found a way to get you up out of there. You decide to sue, y'all settle. They give you an interview to allow you to come back. You bring up the same situation you all just settled on, that you all still have beef, and that you still not really fucking with them like that, and they decide to just wash their hands of it. You think you're going to be able to come back over and over again talking about how much you want to work there? It comes down to this. I don't even think he'd have to stop kneeling if he were to be placed on another roster. I think he can still do that. It's so much bad blood there at this point, especially with the last part about the tryout. You can't think that these white billionaires who all have pride are gonna be okay with the media firestorm that you're gonna bring, because he's gonna definitely keep on kneeling. And the stuff that you've said about the NFL and their owners, and you still think they're gonna give you a paycheck for that shit? Nah, man, it's over with. Now I saw Jim Harbaugh, who is the head coach of my Los Angeles Chargers, wanted to give him a position on his staff. He said he extended that invite for him to have a position like earlier this year or something to that effect. He said he still hasn't heard back from Colin. But even that to me is a stretch. I don't see a situation where Colin Kaepernick is welcome back with open arms in the NFL. And in that regards, man, I appreciate everything that Colin has done for the culture, for the movement, all of that. It's time to let it go. It's time to let it go, because now it looks like you're just having fun with people talking about you coming back. Colin, we moved past that, man. Nobody is looking for, hey, why doesn't Colin Kaepernick have a job anymore? He's better than this QB and that. We're done with that. It's over with. Nah, man, it's just hang it up. You chose what you chose to do, and we appreciate you for it. But King, you can't have it both ways. You can't. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. Enjoy the activism. Enjoy the businesses. I've seen now that you have like an AI storytelling software or something that's coming up. That sounds pretty cool. Enjoy that, because those NFL dreams, that's over. And you know what's crazy about like Colin wanting to come back? On that Netflix series he had, which I think is called Colin Black and White, there's a part where he compares the NFL combine, that white people actually have to do too. He compares the NFL combine to how slaves were measured by slave masters or slave traders at auctions before going into the NFL. You think you can do that? Turn down an NFL try out or move it because you had some kind of grievance with them and say all the stuff that you said about the NFL and they're gonna come back and employ you. Nah, man, we gotta be honest here. That shit over with. Love you though, man. Love you. Keep doing your thing, but it's over. So, what are your thoughts on Colin Kaepernick's comments about coming back to the NFL? Let me know in the comments. Continue to like, continue to share, continue to subscribe. Thank you for everything you've done. And until next time, I'm Jarius, the Unapologetic Geek, and I am out.